After several delays, the trial for a man accused of firing at Coeur d'Alene police 2 years ago in City Park is now underway. We'll bring you the very latest as that trial is taking place.
To feel that life and the love and the care and the passion and just the energy of the kids come back. Oh, it's so exciting.
The first day back in the classroom for Spokane Public School students, a long-awaited return for kids and teachers alike. We're breaking down how the transition back is working.
Meteorological spring has sprung. We're tracking mild temperatures this week. I'll have your forecast next.
COVID vaccine option number 3. Johnson & Johnson started distributing its vaccine today. We'll bring you the latest on the first single-dose vaccine coming up.
It was good. It was a whole bunch of distancing. They handled that, but it was weird.
Well, good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News at 6. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Welcome everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. So today, all remaining students resumed in-person instruction at Spokane Public Schools. It comes after nearly a year of distance learning.
Lewis and Clark teachers and staff say they are ready to take on some new challenges. Our Morgan Trout has the latest tonight on how the pandemic has caused some students to worry about coming back to in-person learning.
Whitney, Mark, school is back in session for in-person learning here at Lewis and Clark High School, and educators couldn't be happier. But with this excitement comes a sense of responsibility. I talked with the school counselor about what she says is going to be their plan of action to tackle a new kind of anxiety.
Bus 123.
This year has been exhausting, especially for students and teachers. Sports, clubs, and social gatherings have been shut down. Some students say they've been missing out on their high school experience due to remote learning.
It's okay to not be okay, and more people have felt like that than a lot of people realize.
Lewis and Clark school counselor Emily Magnuson says the pandemic has raised mental health concerns for students, but it has also made them harder to address.
That the social emotional aspect of a student's development is probably where I've seen the biggest challenge for kids. It's so different than if you had a student face to face.
Counselors have had to be creative, doing video call sessions, visiting students' houses, or just sitting out on a porch to make sure their students have access to mental health resources.
And it'll just be so nice to be able to see their eyes and get to know their faces better and kind of understand their baseline and their normal so that we can identify needs.
Now that they are all in the building, she says it is a perfect time for educators to reintroduce themselves to the students and show them that they understand this may be an intimidating change to be back in person.
Challenge of this unprecedented year, and so just kind of like seeing that normalcy and sort of having that humanness has been really important.
She says the school wants to normalize asking for help. They know that this may be a rough transition, but reaching out for help can let you know that you're not alone. Reporting at Lewis and Clark, Morgan Trout, KREM 2 News.
Meantime, today students in the Central Valley School District headed back to the classroom. Central Valley is on a 2-day-a-week AB schedule starting today for grades 7 through 12. SPS has a district-wide schedule, but Central Valley District principals have the option to create their own schedule. So at Selkirk Middle School, there are 4 cohorts split between 2 groups. One will go in person Monday and Thursday, and the other Tuesday and Friday. Wednesday is online for everyone. This morning on Up with KREM, we spoke with a public information officer with Selkirk Middle School about students being back in the classroom.
They are very excited. They miss their friends, and that's probably the most exciting part, is to have that social connection. I think all of us miss that, and really that's the best part, and that's what they look forward to.
All Central Valley District parents will be contacted directly from the school to pick up their child if they're exhibiting COVID-19 symptoms. Parents will also be notified when a student in their class has COVID symptoms and is being tested. They'll also be notified if their child has been in close contact with a student who has COVID or is being tested, and they will be asked to quarantine at home if necessary. Let's talk weather, shall we? Spring-like weather moving into the inland northwest. It was beautiful out there today, and we're heading into a week of a warm-up. Tom, what is what kind of temperatures can we expect this week?
I think by the time we get towards the end of the week, we should see daytime highs in the mid to upper 50s, actually getting close to 60 degrees by the time Friday rolls around. We're looking for partly cloudy skies, mild days. We call this meteorological spring because we're now at March 1st. And then we'll look for chilly nights, though. Let's not kid ourselves. This is typical March weather. That's when when the overnight lows still drop down into the low 30s and sometimes even into the upper 20s. Right now, it's a beautiful evening. We have 44 degrees. Wind is out of the south-southeast at 9 miles an hour. We should drop it down to about freezing tonight, and then we'll look for a high tomorrow of 47, but it gets warmer for the remainder of the work week. And then as we head into the weekend, I've got mostly a slight chance of showers both Saturday and Sunday. We'll look for partly cloudy skies, 55 on Saturday, 50 on Sunday. But right now, computer models show the overnight lows staying above freezing. I'll check your 10-day forecast coming up in a couple of minutes.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Well, after several delays, the trial for a man accused of shooting at Coeur d'Alene police 2 years ago in City Park is finally underway. 19-year-old Tyler Rambo is charged with attempted murder, second degree, and aggravated assault. Both are felonies. Rambo lost the use of both of his legs after police shot him. Opening arguments in that trial just started this afternoon. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley has the latest now on the court proceedings, which, as Amanda's going to tell us, are a little different than normal. Amanda?
Yeah, that's right. Now, the trial for Tyler Rambo started earlier than expected. So the jury selection began this morning and concluded this afternoon, which is why those opening statements were able to start today. Now, as you mentioned, those proceedings for the jury trial is going to be a bit different because of COVID restrictions. But first, before we get to that, let's talk about those events leading up to this trial. Now, Tyler Rambo is charged with attempted murder in the second degree and aggravated assault, which are both felonies. He is accused of waving a gun and firing it at City Park during 4th of July celebration in 2019. Now, as you mentioned, he was 18 at the time and is now 19. In opening statements today, the prosecutor asked the jury to find him guilty on both charges. They say their evidence, including the 7 police-worn body cameras from that night, will prove this.
Tyler Rambo went to City Park that day with a loaded gun with 13 extra bullets, that he initiated a fight with Juwan Anderson. And seconds after that fight began, he shot at Juwan Anderson, aimed the gun at Jasmine Smith, ran from police officers, refused to comply with repeated commands, brandished that gun, put it in the air, put it down, never dropped the gun, kept it in his hand, paced and turned, and then leveled that gun and shot it at them.
Now, the defense attorney told the jury there is more to what happened than the state will show. He says his witnesses will prove this and Rambo's innocence. The defense also said he did not deny Rambo had a gun and fired it that night, but he argues Rambo used it trying to disperse the group of people who he says were kicking him on the ground.
He put it in the air and he fired one shot in the air, hoping to disperse the gang of people that's kicking his life at him. As soon as that one shot's fired, everybody scatters like cockroaches. All these people that are kicking and stomping on Tyler's skin, except for Juwan. Tyler's getting off the ground now because they quit beating on him. Dropped from his fetal position where he was to his feet. Juwan grabs the gun and they get into a tug of war over the gun.
Now, this trial, as we mentioned, was delayed several times due to COVID restrictions, but Kootenai County is one of a few Idaho counties allowed to resume jury trials starting today, and that's as long as the court follows COVID-19 restrictions. Now, this includes masks required at all times in the courtroom, temperature screenings each day of the trial for all who enter the courtroom, and maintaining a 6-foot distance. This also includes only the judge, attorneys, and jurors must be physically present in the courtroom. And that means these restrictions also include a limited capacity of people inside the courtroom, which is why media was not granted access inside today. But to accommodate for these restrictions, the court is live streaming those hearings. Court will resume tomorrow morning at 8:30. Reporting in Coeur d'Alene tonight, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Amanda, thank you very much. To coronavirus news now, Spokane Regional Health District reporting 53 new coronavirus cases today. 4 new deaths were also reported. Currently, 51 people are hospitalized due to the virus.
And in North Idaho, the Panhandle Health District is reporting 71 new coronavirus cases. That, though, includes cases from Saturday and Sunday. 2 new deaths were also reported today, and there are currently 20 people hospitalized because of the virus.
There's some hopeful news on the COVID front lines. The number of people in hospitals infected with the virus has fallen below 50,000 for the first time in nearly 4 months. And the rate of infection has slowed down, but new variants remain a concern. President Biden's top health officials say that even though coronavirus cases are falling, now is not the time to become complacent about the virus. They say that even with the approval of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, there is still a lot of work to be done to make sure every American can get the shot. More money could help ramp up vaccine distribution. It's just one part of the president's $1.9 trillion COVID relief package.
In 2 weeks, on March 14th, around 11 million Americans will start losing their unemployment benefits if Congress doesn't act on the president's rescue plan.
We're not going to go waste Americans' money. We have $27 trillion worth of debt. You see interest rates are going up. Inflation is coming back. It's caused because of government spending.
Democratic aides working on the legislation say that adding the corporate tax proposal would take too long. They're hoping to bring the COVID relief plan to the Senate floor for a vote on Wednesday or Thursday so that President Biden can sign it into law before expanded unemployment benefits expire.
In the meantime, the FDA just approved the Johnson & Johnson version of the vaccine, and now the first shipments are already headed across the country. Coming up next, we'll tell you just how many doses are out the door today and how many are coming over the next few months.